Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world recognize it as well. The story of Black History Month begins in 1915, half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. That September, the Harvard-trained historian Carter G. Woodson and the prominent minister Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, an organization dedicated to researching and promoting achievements by Black Americans and other peoples of African descent. In the decades that followed, mayors of the cities across the country began issuing yearly proclamations recognizing Negro History Week. By the late 1960s, thanks in part to the Civil Rights Movement and a growing awareness of Black identity, Negro History Week had evolved into Black History Month on many college campuses. President General Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976, and he said to the public, "Seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area and endeavor throughout our history." Today, Black History Month is a time to honor the contributions and legacy of African Americans across our U.S. history and societies. We would like to think about those pioneers and civil rights leaders who have gone before us: Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Martin Luther King Jr., and Rosa Parks. Each year, a president designates a theme for Black History Month. This year, the theme is Black Resistance, and it explores how African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms since the nation's earliest days. And that concludes our history of Black History Month, okay? Right now, what we're getting ready, what I'm going to do is a one-act scene. And this scene is going to depict a young girl who, from a young age, as a slave, she had some friends, and they went into the woods, and they began to teach her about God. So now you're going to see a woman, a girl who's now evolved into a woman, and the pains that she's going through, the challenges that she's facing, and how to stay positive, okay? And we know that the enemy comes to attack our mind, and that is where the enemy starts, and that's the battleground. Amen. So we're gonna hear just a scene from her and how she's evolved into a woman despite the outside of her circumstances, despite the situation that she's in. She did not allow that to depict her freedom inside of her, okay? Yes. My back is hurting. My feet are swollen. My hands have calluses and they're hard. I am tired. I've been beat. I've been raped. My son and my children are not here. My husband has been lynched. And I think back and I remember when I was a girl and we went into the woods and they told me about this man named God. And they told me that it's okay, sissy, it's okay. It's okay, we know that we're in bondage and we're slaves, but it's okay, we can still be free. How can that be, we be free? How? Look at our situation, look what is going on. Look at our bodies, look how we're treated. How can we be free? But they told me about a man named Jesus. And that if I was to cast my cares upon him, if I was to trust him to give my life to him, he would take away the cares and the burdens of this world. And so I did. Reluctantly, I was scared, but I did. And you know what happened? He took them from me. Jesus. I don't carry those weights anymore that I used to. I do have those thoughts. Sometimes I think about where my children may be and what happens to my husband, and sometimes night terrors in my mind. But when I think about him and I call on his name, I know that he is real. And he set me free, and if he set me free, he can set you free too. Don't allow the enemy to keep your mind. Don't allow him to wrestle with the thoughts inside of your mind. Give it all to Jesus. He loves you and he cares for you. And he says that he'll give us the peace that surpasses all understanding. And in the peace that surpasses all understanding, that means despite my situation, despite my circumstances, look at me. I am free. I am free. I'm free on the inside. I'm free in my mind. This is something only God can do. Man couldn't do this for me. Nobody could. Nobody. My situation on the outside, things that were going on, but I was free on the inside. Despite the times that I was beat, despite the things that went on in my life, I stayed free in my mind. And I know that you can do it too. Trust Jesus. Cast your cares on him. He careth for you. His yoke is easy, his burden is light. Trust him. Trust him to do it for you. If he did it for me, he'll do it for you. Our children, those that'll go after us, and the history and the story will be continued to be told. Trust God.